picture this. You are sitting in yet another Zoom meeting.
Oh, yeah. We all know the one.
Right, and you're staring at your screen. But, I mean, let's be entirely honest here. You aren't really looking at the presentation.
No, of course not. You're looking at your own face.
Exactly. You're staring at your own little video box in the corner. Just, watching yourself.
Yep.
And as the silence stretches on or the conversation just sort of circles around you, you feel this sudden icy spike of panic.
Because it's your turn to speak.
Yes, it's your turn. And you feel this overwhelming, just desperate need to sound incredibly professional, really just to justify your presence in that little digital square.
It is a very specific, but also very universal kind of modern anxiety. I mean, it's the pressure of the spotlight, but compressed into a tiny digital grid.
So what usually happens next? Your brain just scrambles, panic takes the wheel, and you open your mouth and end up blurting out something utterly ridiculous.
Oh, 100%.
So today, we are doing a deep dive into that agonizingly relatable scenario. We've got this great source material that exposes the absurdity of modern corporate jargon.
It really does.
And we're unpacking the psychology of why we all do it. But more importantly, we're uncovering the actual secret to holding your own in these meetings.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
Consider this your shortcut to saving a massive amount of mental energy at work. No more wondering why everyone around you sounds like a malfunctioning robot. We want to figure out how to stop the madness and start speaking like human beings again.
It's an incredibly pervasive behavior, too. Like, we all participate in it, often without even realizing we've flipped a switch in our brains.
Right.
We just accept it as the cost of doing business. But understanding the mechanics behind that switch is where things get really illuminating.
Yeah, before we can fix the problem, we have to really look at the mechanics of the ridiculous things we say when that Zoom panic sets in. Like, we need to diagnose the disease before we apply the cure. Think about the classic textbook example of panic-induced corporate speak from our source. You're trying to say something, anything to sound like you belong there, so you just say, we need to dynamically pivot our synergistic operations to maximize bandwidth.
Wow. Just hearing that sentence makes my brain want to power down.
It's total word salad. Dynamically pivot our synergistic operations to maximize bandwidth.
Yeah.
And the ultimate irony here is that you don't even know what that actually means.
No.
Your boss doesn't know what that means. Nobody on that call knows what it means. It's just, well, a collection of sounds.
What's fascinating here is the underlying psychology driving that specific behavior. I mean, why do we string together these complex, multi-syllabic words when simple ones would do?
Right. Why do we do it?
It really comes down to conditioning. We have been conditioned to believe that work meetings are essentially a theatrical performance.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because it really does feel like a performance. Like, we're all playing a high-stakes game of corporate poker.
Yeah.
But we are all just bluffing with blank cards.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Right, like, I'm looking at the cards, they're totally blank, but I confidently throw down the word synergy, and you looked at your blank cards, and you don't want to fold, so you raise me a bandwidth. We're both betting heavily, but there's absolutely nothing of value on the table. Is this all just a defense mechanism, like born out of the terror of being perceived as useless or quiet?
That is a very accurate way to visualize it. In this theater, we operate under the delusion that the person who uses the most syllables wins the hand.
Wow. Yeah.
It ceases to be about clarity of thought and becomes entirely about the density of the vocabulary. And the causality here is important. We are terrified of being perceived as useless or, heaven forbid, quiet.
Because silence is bad.
Right. Silence in a corporate setting is frequently misconstrued as ignorance or a lack of engagement.
So it is essentially a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
We're so afraid of looking like we don't belong that we overcompensate by generating complex noise.
Precisely. To prove we are engaged, we make noise. But because we're panicked, we don't make meaningful noise.
We just turn into bots.
Exactly. We literally abandon normal human speech and start pretending we are corporate chatbots.
Oh.
We prioritize the illusion of competence over actual comprehension.
Right.
The internal logic dictates, if I sound complicated, I must be smart, and if I am smart, I am valuable.
But the reality of that dynamic is actually creating a huge negative ripple effect.
Yeah.
Because everybody in the room is putting on this exact same theatrical performance.
Oh, yeah.
It creates a massive invisible burden on the entire audience.
Ah.
We're all carrying the weight of each other's performances.
It creates an environment where communication becomes an exercise in constant, exhausting translation.
Yeah.
We are basically forcing our colleagues to decode our insecurities.
Let's look at a really common, everyday example of this from the deep dive text,
Yeah.
because this highlights the absurdity perfectly.
Okay.
Think about the last time a colleague asked a highly straightforward question. Something like, when will the report be done? The answer to that question should be one word.
Just Friday.
Right, Friday.
A beautiful, clean, understandable piece of data. Friday.
But because we're in the theater, because we're playing poker with blank cards, we can't just say Friday. Instead, we say something like, I'm currently navigating the pipeline and hope to have those deliverables finalized by the end of the week, pending stakeholder alignment.
It's just so much. Let's break down the cognitive tax that sentence imposes on the listener.
Please.
You hear navigating the pipeline, and your brain actually has to halt and process, okay, what is the pipeline in this context? They mean the workflow.
Right.
Then you hear deliverables, and you have to translate that to the report. Then finalized by the end of the week, okay, that means Friday. Then pending stakeholder alignment, meaning if the boss approves it.
You're literally mentally deciphering a foreign language just to extract a day of the week. And the best part is, while someone is saying all of that, practically everyone else in the room is secretly rolling their eyes.
Oh, absolutely. They're rolling their eyes because they are doing the exact same exhausting dance of translation, and they recognize the bluff.
You know exactly what you're doing.
But hold on, I gotta play devil's advocate here for a second. If everyone is rolling their eyes, why do we maintain this shared delusion?
That's the real question.
Right. Like, why keep the dance going if the cognitive tax is so high for everyone involved?
Because breaking the delusion feels significantly riskier than simply participating in it.
I see.
The conditioning we discussed earlier is incredibly strong. If everyone else is speaking chatbot and you choose to speak human, you risk standing out. You risk being the one who breaks the unspoken rules of the theater.
It's like a modern manifestation of the emperor's new clothes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone in the room knows the vocabulary is empty, but nobody wants to be the first one to admit it out loud. They're terrified of looking like they're the only one who doesn't understand these incredibly complex synergistic operations.
Here's where it gets really interesting. If the exhausting dance of jargon isn't actually fooling anyone, and it's draining the whole room, what actually makes someone valuable in a meeting?
The text reveals this amazing core thesis. The real secret isn't having a highly complex vocabulary or revolutionary ideas. The secret to holding your own in a work meeting is having the courage to state the incredibly obvious.
Courage is the operative word there. It takes a remarkable amount of bravery to be the one to drop the jargon, lower the shield, and just speak plainly.
Right. Consider this scenario from the text. The meeting has been dragging on for 45 minutes.
Oh, it's the worst.
Everyone is throwing around buzzwords, the pipeline is being navigated, the bandwidth is maximized, and then someone finally sighs, leans into their microphone and says, wait, why are we even doing this project if the client hasn't paid us yet?
If we connect this to the bigger picture and analyze the physical reaction in the room when that happens, there is usually an audible, collective sigh of relief. The tension visibly dissipates.
You can practically see the shoulders drop on the Zoom grid. But why? I mean, this person didn't just invent a new algorithm or solve a complex market strategy.
They didn't have to. The relief comes from the fact that this person just stopped the exhausting dance. They reached over and turned off the translation machine for everyone else.
Oh, wow.
What's crucial to understand is that they aren't offering some massive, earth-shattering insight that no one else could possibly have comprehended. They're simply pointing out the elephant in the room.
And the elephant was always there. Like the unpaid client was a known fact to everyone on the call.
Yes. But everyone else was too busy translating their own thoughts into acceptable corporate speak to actually notice the elephant. Or at least, they lack the courage to acknowledge it without wrapping it in layers of jargon.
Right.
We harbor this misconception that to be valued in a professional setting, we must constantly offer something wildly original. But in reality, the most respected person in the room is usually the one who is willing to simplify the chaos.
Simplifying the chaos. That goes right back to the emperor's new clothes dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was already thinking about the unpaid client, but they were trapped in the performance. The person who plainly asks the obvious question just walked onto the stage, turned on the house lights, and reminded everyone that they're just wearing costumes.
The resulting sigh of relief is cognitive relief. It is the sudden, unexpected permission to stop pretending.
So what does this all mean? How do we actively apply this tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. when that spotlight swings your way on the call and you feel that icy spike of panic rising in your chest.
Right.
What's the practical methodology for cutting through the noise? When your brain desperately wants to search for buzzwords like synergy or touch point, how do you short-circuit that impulse?
The most tactical approach is to fundamentally change your internal audience. You have to stop viewing your colleagues as an executive board that you're delivering a press release to.
The friend at a bar methodology.
Yes, the concept is straightforward. Just describe this situation as if you were explaining it to a friend at a bar. You would never use multisyllabic corporate jargon to tell a friend a story about your day.
No, they'd look at you like you were crazy.
Exactly, you just give them the facts.
Let's run through a role play of this, because contrasting the two approaches really highlights the difference in impact.
Okay, let's do it.
I'll play the panicked corporate chatbot who is trying to mask a problem, and you react to it. Okay, here we go. Yes, team. Unfortunately, we are experiencing some operational latency with the current deliverables.
As your colleague, my brain immediately goes into overdrive.
Right.
I'm thinking, operational latency, what does that mean? Are the servers down? Is the vendor late? Did you forget to do your job and you're trying to hide it?
Exactly.
The phrase is highly ambiguous, and it feels incredibly defensive. It creates suspicion rather than clarity.
It's the locked empty box. Now let's apply the friend at a bar method. I drop the performance, look at the screen and simply say, we hit a snag and we need 2 more days.
The difference in reception is profound. First, people will intrinsically respect your honesty. You aren't hiding behind a nebulous term like operational latency. You're acknowledging the snag and taking ownership of the timeline.
I put down the blank poker cards and just showed my actual hand.
Exactly. Second, they will absolutely understand you. There is 0 translation required and 0 cognitive tax imposed by the phrase, we need 2 more days.
And isn't there a major efficiency benefit here too, like just saving time?
That might be the most vital benefit for workplace morale. You save everyone from another 15 minutes of agonizing, meaningless jargon.
Oh, absolutely.
If you use a phrase like operational latency, someone else on the call is going to feel compelled to demonstrate their own competence by asking how we can synergize our resources to mitigate the latency.
And suddenly, you have lost a quarter of an hour to absolute nonsense, discussing a problem that nobody fully understands by just saying, we need 2 days. You close the loop immediately.
Right.
You define the problem, provide the new timeline, and save everyone's time.
You are providing a service to your colleagues. You're giving them the gift of clarity. When you stop trying to sound like an algorithm and start speaking like a human, a remarkable shift occurs.
People actually listen.
Yes, people actually start paying attention to what you're saying. You cut through the ambient noise of the meeting.
Because you're the only one making structural sense. But what about navigating the hierarchy? It's one thing to use the friend at a bar method with your peers. Does this actually work when you're speaking to senior leadership?
It feels risky.
Yeah, it feels incredibly risky to tell a vice president we hit a snag.
It does feel risky, but it is actually highly effective, perhaps even more so with leadership. Senior leaders suffer from the cognitive tax of jargon more than anyone else because they sit through these theatrical performances all day long.
That makes sense.
Their time is heavily constrained. They value speed, accuracy, and clarity above almost everything else. If you're the one person who can look at a vice president and accurately summarize a complex issue in a single, plain English sentence, you immediately signal confidence and competence.
Because hiding behind jargon signals insecurity. It basically says, I'm not confident enough in the actual work, so I had to dress it up in fancy words.
Precisely. It all comes down to breaking that initial conditioning. We have to recognize that the panic-induced desire to sound professional is frequently the exact thing that makes us sound incomprehensible.
Wow.
The moment you prioritize being understood over being perceived as complex, your entire dynamic in the workplace shifts. You become the person who simplifies the chaos.
It's a fundamental shift in perspective, but it makes complete sense. To wrap this all up, at the end of the day, when you strip away the Zoom backgrounds, the job titles, and the company mission statements, well, we are all just tired adults sitting in chairs.
Very true.
We're just hoping that someone will make our lives a little bit easier by making sense. Stop trying to sound like a press release and start speaking like a human.
It is a grounding reality. It reframes how you look at your colleagues. They aren't a hostile audience you have to perform for. They're just other people trying to process information and get their work done.
Right.
But, looking at the scale of this behavior leaves you with one final, lingering thing to ponder.
What's it?
If everyone universally hates corporate jargon, and we all find the translation dance so incredibly exhausting who originally invented these buzzwords, and more importantly, what uncomfortable truths were they actually trying to hide when they first created them?